The restaurant was a picture of elegance. Soft golden light shimmered off crystal glasses. The murmur of sophisticated conversation filled the air, and the scent of gourmet cuisine lingered like an invisible thread tying the scene together. This was Lumiere, a place where status mattered, where wealth dictated respect. At a quiet corner table, a man sat alone. He wasn't flashy, didn't demand attention, yet something about him stood out. His presence was magnetic, calm, composed, almost too still, as if he was observing everything yet reacting to nothing. But one waitress had taken notice of him for all the wrong reasons. Ashley, a senior staff member, had been watching him with growing disdain. To her, he didn't belong. His simple attire, his quiet demeanor, he wasn't the type of guest she was used to serving. And in her mind, that made him unworthy of the kind of hospitality this restaurant prided itself on. What started as subtle dismissiveness soon turned into veiled insults. A sarcastic comment here, a patronizing remark there. A test, pushing boundaries to see if he would react. But he didn't. He remained still, unshaken, and that made Ashley push even harder. What she didn't realize, what no one in that room realized, was that this wasn't just any man, and by the time she found out, it would be far too late. Ashley approached his table. Her smile stretched a little too wide, her voice dripping with artificial sweetness. "I hope you're enjoying your experience," she said, her words slow and deliberate. "It's always interesting to have different kinds of people here. It adds a unique touch to the atmosphere." Nearby diners paused mid-conversation, their ears subtly tuning in. Something about her tone. It wasn't welcoming. It was challenging. The man finally looked up. His eyes met hers. Not with anger, not with irritation, but with something even more unsettling. A quiet intensity. A presence so strong it made Ashley's forced confidence waver for just a moment. "Different?" he asked, his voice calm, almost gentle. "Could you explain what you mean by that?" Ashley hesitated, then let out a nervous chuckle. "Oh, don't take it the wrong way," she said quickly. "It's just, well, our clientele usually has a more traditional profile. It's rare to see someone with your style here." The words hung in the air like a thread about to snap. Across the room, a woman leaned toward her dinner companion. "Who is he?" she whispered. Anyone else would have walked out by now. Her companion studied him carefully. Or maybe he's just stronger than she realizes. And then, before Ashley could dig herself into an even deeper hole, everything changed. A sudden movement at the restaurant entrance caught everyone's attention. A sharply dressed man strode in, his eyes scanning the room with purpose. The restaurant manager. His gaze locked onto the man at the table, and instantly, his entire demeanor changed. His expression shifted from business-like professionalism to something else, a flicker of recognition, a flash of urgency. Without hesitation, he rushed over, completely ignoring Ashley. "Mr. Reeves," he breathed, his tone filled with deep respect. "I wasn't aware you were dining with us tonight. Please allow me to personally ensure your evening is nothing short of exceptional." Silence. Pure, deafening silence. Ashley's entire body stiffened. The color drained from her face. "Mr. Reeves? It couldn't be. It couldn't." She turned slowly, looking at the man she had spent the evening belittling. Keanu Reeves. The realization crashed into her like a tidal wave. The man she had treated like a nobody wasn't just a somebody. He was one of the owners of the restaurant. Her stomach twisted. Her mind raced. "Oh my God, what have I done?" Around the room, whispers ignited like sparks catching fire. Diners exchanged stunned glances, some now looking at Ashley with subtle disgust, others in awe of Keanu's unshakable composure. Ashley swallowed hard, scrambling for an explanation. I didn't know," she stammered. The manager's voice cut through her panic like a blade. "Didn't know what, Ashley? That a guest, who also happens to be one of the owners, deserves the same respect as anyone else?" Her mouth opened, but no words came out. And then finally, Keanu spoke again. His voice wasn't raised, wasn't angry, but it carried a weight that made every person in that room hold their breath. "Respect isn't given because of who someone is," he said. "It's given because of who you are." The power of that statement sent chills down spines. A man at a nearby table whispered, "I knew there was something different about him." His wife nodded, eyes wide with admiration. "Look at how he's handling this. Such grace." The manager's jaw tightened. He turned to Ashley, his voice firm. "Ashley, I expect a full explanation after your shift, but for now, step away from this table." Ashley didn't argue. She simply turned and walked away, her face burning with humiliation. Keanu took a deep breath and stood up. He glanced around the room, his gaze meeting the eyes of the guests, the staff. The weight of this moment wasn't lost on him. With a calm yet commanding voice, he spoke. This restaurant was built to be a place where everyone, regardless of their background, their wealth, or their appearance, feels welcome. He let the words settle before continuing. But today, we saw what happens when someone makes judgments before understanding. Respect and kindness should be foundations, not privileges handed out based on assumption. The room remained silent, absorbing every word. Then he turned to the manager. I'd like to meet with the entire staff after closing. We need to have a conversation. The manager nodded immediately. Of course, Mr. Reeves. That night, long after the last guest had left, Keanu stood before the staff in the now empty restaurant. His voice was steady but warm. We all make mistakes, he said. But what matters is what we do after those mistakes. Ashley, her eyes still red from embarrassment and regret, stepped forward. I never thought about it that way before, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. I was so focused on appearances, on maintaining an image, that I forgot what really matters. I promise. I'll change. Keanu studied her for a moment before offering a small, encouraging nod. That promise isn't to me, he said. It's to yourself. As he stepped out into the cool Beverly Hills night, the city lights twinkling above him, Keanu knew that this wasn't just about a restaurant. It was about something far greater. Because in a world where you can be anything, the greatest strength is choosing to be kind. If this story moved you, you won't want to miss what's next. Click the screen to explore more powerful stories of kindness, resilience, and life-changing moments. Because sometimes the smallest actions make the biggest difference.